I stared into the bathroom mirror, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. The dim light above cast eerie shadows on my face, making my own reflection look unfamiliar and sinister. I couldn't believe I was about to do this, but peer pressure and a misguided sense of teenage bravado had led me here. They called it the Bloody Mary Challenge, and it was supposed to summon a vengeful spirit when performed in front of a mirror in a darkened room. The legend went something like this. If you said Bloody Mary 3 times while looking into the mirror, she would appear, covered in blood, and seek revenge on those who dared to call her name. It was nothing more than an old wives' tale, a campfire story to frighten children. But as I stood there, beads of sweat forming on my forehead, I couldn't shake the feeling that there might be some truth to it. My friends stood behind me, barely containing their laughter and excitement. They had goaded me into doing this, and I couldn't back out now. Taking a deep breath, I whispered, "Bloody Mary," once. Nothing happened. My reflection remained still, and the room was silent. "Come on, you chicken," one of my friends taunted. Summoning every ounce of courage, I said it again, this time a little louder. "Bloody Mary." Still, nothing. My reflection mocked me with its static image. "Last chance, man," another friend jeered. I took a moment to gather myself, then shouted, "Bloody Mary," 3 times in rapid succession. I waited, expecting nothing. But as I stared at my reflection, something changed. The room grew colder, and the mirror seemed to fog up, distorting my image. Panic gripped me, but I couldn't look away. I was frozen in place, my eyes locked with the reflection in the mirror. And then, as if emerging from the depths of a nightmare, she appeared. Bloody Mary. A spectral figure, materialized behind me. Her long, matted hair hung in front of her face, and her white gown was soaked in blood. Her eyes were empty sockets, and her skin was pale as death. I could hardly breathe, but I couldn't move. The legend was real. Her icy, bony fingers touched my shoulder, and a chill ran down my spine. I felt a searing pain, as if something was digging into my flesh. I screamed, finally breaking free from my trance, and stumbled backward, crashing into my friends. The bathroom door slammed shut on its own, trapping us inside. Panic consumed us as we tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't budge. We were trapped in that small, dimly lit room with Bloody Mary. She moved closer, her eyes locked on me. I could see the torment and rage in those empty sockets, and it chilled me to the bone. My friends and I huddled in the corner, our breaths shallow and fast. Bloody Mary circled us slowly, her presence growing more oppressive with each passing second. I knew she was there for a reason, to exact her revenge on those who dared to summon her. The room seemed to close in on us, the walls covered in grotesque images that seemed to writhe and twist. My friends' faces contorted with fear, mirroring my own terror. We were trapped in a living nightmare, and there was no way out. Bloody Mary's voice was a whisper, cold and menacing. "You summoned me," she hissed, her words dripping with malice. "Now, you will pay." She reached out toward my closest friend, her bloody hand passing right through him. He screamed in agony as if his very soul was being torn apart. I watched in horror as he withered away, becoming nothing more than a pale, lifeless husk. The room grew darker, and the air became thick with despair. I realized that Bloody Mary was feeding on our fear, our terror. She was becoming stronger with each passing moment, and there was no escape. I closed my eyes and prayed for it to end, for the nightmare to be over. But when I opened them again, I was alone. My friends had disappeared, their anguished cries echoing in my ears. I was the last one left, the sole survivor of our ill-fated summoning. Bloody Mary approached me, her ghostly form hovering inches from my face. "You will carry the guilt of what you've done," she whispered, her voice a haunting echo. "You will live with the knowledge that you brought this upon yourself." I felt a sharp pain in my chest, as if something was tearing at my soul. It was a punishment worse than death, a never-ending torment. And as Bloody Mary faded away, leaving me in that darkened room, I knew that I would forever be haunted by the night I summoned the vengeful spirit of Bloody Mary. I never spoke of that night again, and I tried to convince myself that it was just a hallucination. a shared delusion brought on by fear. But every time I looked into a mirror, I saw her lurking in the shadows, waiting to remind me of the horrors I had unleashed. So, dear reader, heed my warning. Do not tempt fate by summoning Bloody Mary, for she is real, and her vengeance knows no bounds. And if you ever find yourself standing before a mirror in a darkened room, think twice before you utter her name, for you may just unleash a nightmare that will haunt you for the rest of your days.